Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Hughey, and I currently teach 6th grade science and social studies. I'm in my 6th year of teaching and will be completing my master's in education degree in May of this year. The title of my paper is Improving Behaviors with Positive and Constructive Feedback. The question that I'm trying to answer is, do programs that focus on both positive and constructive feedback yield less office referrals than programs that focus on just positive feedback? Currently, our building, as well as 18,000 other schools in America, are participating in PBIS, Positive Behavior Interventions and Services. Our district has been participating in PBIS for the last 10 years. PBIS focuses on positive feedback to correct undesired behaviors. Positive Behavior and Intervention Services is a nationwide approach to school discipline issues for all students to achieve social, emotional, and academic success. Currently, there is a lack of sustainability in the implementation of PBIS in an increasing number of schools. Mine is no exception. Teacher and student buy-in, as well as administrator support, are key to the success of this program. In my building, as well as others, undesired behaviors are on the rise at an alarming rate. I chose this topic to research because I feel that students need to be accountable for all of their behavior. And by implementing a program that incorporates both positive and constructive feedback, students will be able to determine what strengths they have and what things they need to work on. As I was looking into the impact that discipline issues have on students, one of the first facts that jumped out at me was that school discipline experts state that U.S. public school children lost almost 18 million days of instruction in 2011 and 2012 due to discipline issues. This fact made me realize the enormous impact that behaviors have on academics in the classroom. The article went on to say that school discipline affects the core of the school environment and whether we have a healthy educational environment to provide students with the appropriate conditions for learning. Some may think that behaviors cause just a safety issue, and I am sure that there are facts to support that, but during my research, I wanted to focus on the implications of how behavior issues affect students and teachers academically. Behavior issues in the classroom create discrepancies in learning, and those behaviors also expose other students to a wide range of additional concerns. Some of these concerns include, but are not limited to, disruption of classroom flow, increased stress level for all the students and the instructor, interruption of the process of learning for all that are in the classroom where the behavior is taking place, and the teachers focusing their attention from academic to behavior. Disruptive behavior is also associated with learning deficits. Research shows that students with an emotional or behavior disorder tend to be 1 to 2 years below grade level in reading. The enactment of No Child Left Behind in 2001 by President George W. Bush's Education Reform Bill has also given teachers the added responsibility in the classroom to balance academic achievement while keeping behaviors to a minimum. This also connects with teachers and districts having to provide a least restricted environment for all students, meaning all students have the opportunity to learn in the general education classroom, regardless of what limitations they have with their learning. This can be difficult for classroom teachers when dealing with behavior students. Research continues to collaborate a clear correlation between suspensions and lost academic time with low achievement, which results in students dropping out altogether. Specifically, students who have behavior issues are more likely to drop out by the 10th grade. High school dropouts are also 4 times more likely to be unemployed. And if they do hold a job, they are likely to earn 1/3 less income than a student who has his or her diploma or equivalent. All of the facts that I started to uncover made it even more evident to me that I needed to see if there was more an effective system that I could put into place to see if giving students both positive and constructive feedback would decrease unwanted behaviors that resulted in office referrals. The gap in their research is although PBIS boasts its success, research and literature on PBIS sustainability is at an early stage of development. There are many studies out there that show the success of the first few years, but not how schools are doing after the newness is worn off. Ms. D. Ellen Birtwistle, the AEA representative for the North Iowa area, stated that students' behavior and the need for interventions decreased during the first few years of implementation of PBIS, but the current trend is showing a steady increase in students' undesired behaviors. At our school, the students are put into school families where they interact with 4 teachers most of their day: a math teacher, a reading teacher, me, their science and social studies teacher, and a special education teacher. This allowed 81 6th grade students to participate in this study. Their ages ranged from 11 to 13 years old. Participants lived in a small, rural to middle to lower class community in North Iowa. 15.44% were on an IEP, 57.72% were on free and reduced lunches, and the ethnicity of the participants were followed: 1.1 Asian, 7.72 African American, 9.93 Hispanic, 0.37 Native American, 1.84 multicultural, 70.04 Caucasian, and the other did not identify was 9%. In the study, there were 38 girls and 43 boys. The concept of this system is similar to a checkbook. Students receive credits when they demonstrate a desired behavior and a debit when they demonstrate an undesired behavior. Students are issued an online checkbook register that keeps track of their credits and debits. The students and teachers that participated in the study gathered at the beginning of the year to discuss expectations and the checkbook method of behavior monitoring that the students would be participating in. Teachers came to a consensus on what was expected and what would be considered an undesired behavior. The first few days of school were spent going over the building's expectations and lessons that is required by our building leaders. Then we talked about specific expectations of our school family and how they can spend their money. We introduced the checkbook method of behavior tracking. Students were then shown how to use a checkbook register and spent time practicing debiting and crediting their account. Students also practiced filling out a check. A list of ways students can earn money and lose money based on classroom expectations was handed out and explained to the students so they are aware of all of them. They then put a copy in their folder, and we posted some around the classrooms in the school family. We also told the students that the same expectations were expected when they traveled outside the school family, specials, lunch, places like that. We also told them that those teachers would be able to contact us when the student received a credit or a debit to their checkbook. This showed the students that the same behaviors would be expected in the entire building. The students seemed very excited. Students were then given this tracking sheet and were explained how to fill it out. Students and teachers kept track of the students' credits and debits on this slip. Then once a month, they balanced their checkbook. This also is a really good running record of supporting things that the student is demonstrating well and what skills they need to work on. We explained to the students that they could spend their money one of 2 ways. The first way was the students could buy privileges in the classroom. Examples of this would be they could buy to sit by a friend, wear a hat for the day, a free homework pass. There was also lists of privileges and the costs of the privileges that they could do. The second way the students could spend their money was at the end of each of the 3 trimesters, we would have a store where they could buy tangible items. Many of the items were school items, but we also collected things that we purchased at various stores for minimal cost, so that was explained to the students. This would vary from trimester to trimester. As stated earlier, the purpose of the study was to measure the effectiveness of using the checkbook method versus just positive feedback. I compared students' office referrals from September and October of their 5th grade and 6th grade year. 2 dependent sample t-tests were used to compare the number of office referrals in each month of both years. September, which would be their 5th grade office referral results, where the mean was 0.38, the standard deviation was 0.82. September, which was their 6th grade office referrals, the results were the mean was 0.30, the standard deviation was 0.86. The dependent samples t-test had a test statistic of t81 equals 1.62 and a p-value of 0.109. At this point in the study, there was not enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis, so there was not a significant difference in the mean number of office referrals in students using this behavior control method. As the study went on to October, the results were the following. October, their 5th grade office results were the mean was 0.47, the standard deviation was 0.99. October, their 6th grade office referral results were the mean 0.26, the standard deviation was 0.67. The dependent samples t-test had a test statistic of T81 equals 3.11. P was 0.003. In this dependent samples t-test, there was enough evidence to reject the null hypothesis. So there was enough evidence that students who participated in the checkbook method of behavior tracking showed a decrease in office referrals. Overall, the findings confirmed that the students who tracked their behaviors with the checkbook method showed a decrease in office referrals. Findings suggest that students who are monitoring their behaviors with the checkbook method display a decrease in negative behaviors in the classroom and other areas of the school. Therefore, the hypothesis is that students who receive the checkbook method of behavior tracking will receive fewer office referrals than students who just received positive feedback was supported. The limitations. The study was done with a limited number of students, 81 out of 623. The study was done with different teachers, so different classroom management styles might have affected the outcome. The study was limited to the first 2 months of the school year. The implication of the checkbook system is time-consuming, and it might be challenging to convince teachers that it is worth their time and effort, especially when they are already stretched so thin. The recommendations to help the limitations are a longer length of study. Having the study go longer would result in even more decreased office referrals. With looking at the 2-month trend, the researcher noticed in the study a larger group of participants. The study would include all 5th and 6th grade students in the researcher's building. By including all the students in the building, it would have a greater impact. All teachers. By including all teachers, all management styles would be included, so that would not be a variable that would change the results. Materials ready. Since teachers are already strung thin, the researcher would make sure that all the materials were ready and easily accessible for all the teachers so they would be able to implement it with fidelity. Implications. How it would impact students, teachers, and schools. The first thing is students would receive more academic instruction time that could result in better academic scores. The second, students would spend more time in the classroom and be around other students who are showing desired behaviors. Third, students are instantly given feedback on behaviors. If the behavior is positive, it can be reinforced. If it is undesired, then the student can see what needs to be fixed so it does not become a habit. Students would move from extrinsic to intrinsic behavior, so eventually the behavior comes second nature. Students would also become more aware of the desired and undesired behaviors of the reinforcers, that they would lead them to self-actualization on the section of Maslow's pyramid. This is a level that all humans strive to reach because it means that you are well-rounded and your needs are being met. Teachers would also be able to concentrate on academics and therefore really being able to engage students in meaningful and deeper thinking learning. Less teacher burnout. This would help with teacher burnout. About half the teachers experience burnout the first 5 to 10 years of teaching and leave the profession, and many of them state that this burnout is due to behavior issues. And finally, teachers that do not have to deal with behavior issues can concentrate on building positive relationships that hopefully will last a lifetime. Thank you for listening to my presentation.